Hello everyone, this is Shubhashini, and the last time I talked until what happened till my delivery, I shared my experience, and after that, uh, I got few questions regarding how the doctors diagnosed the syndrome in my baby and what were the symptoms. So today I'll be talking about that. um, I wanted to make this video yesterday, but it is horrifying to relive those situations again, because that was the hardest time for me and my husband that we have spent, I guess. um, so yeah, um, as I told in my last video, they had to take me into emergency C-section because of my blood sugar level fell down to 30, and the NST, those graphs were coming almost flatline. So they took me for the C-section, and um, yeah, and so during delivery, what happened? I was conscious. I didn't lose my sense for a moment. Also, I was conscious the whole time in that OT. Um, so when my daughter was born, I couldn't even hear her cry. I remember asking the doctors, "Is my baby born already?" And they said, "Yes." Did you not hear the crying? It was such a weak cry that I couldn't hear it myself. Then I asked them if it's a boy or a girl. They told we can't say anything right now because the pediatricians have taken them somewhere, and who were present in the OT. And yeah, after that they stitched me up, and they were speaking in Kannada, and I could understand that language. They were speaking that they have never seen such a small baby at 9 months of after at 9 months of delivery. And yeah, so after that I came out of the OT, and my husband was there, and I asked, and he saw, and he told like, "Oh, she's really beautiful," but they had to take her to an ICU because she had respiratory distress. She couldn't breathe. For one day, she was in ventilation, in oxygen support, and yeah, I got to meet her the next day. Within 6 hours, I was walking. I was on my feet, and then I went to an ICU, and she was there, wired up in all those tubes here and there, and yeah, all those things. And yeah, okay, so the thing is, she didn't cry. When she was born, her hands and feet, like her muscle tone was too low. She was very floppy. She was very small for her gestational age. She was born at 36 weeks one day, and her weight was 1.72 kgs only. Also her hemoglobin level was like, when at birth her hemoglobin was 16, and then within 3 days it reduced to 12, and then it stayed there for some time, and then again it reduced. She had to be given blood. These All these things were going on. She was born white. Means just white. Doctors knew that there is something wrong, but they couldn't figure it out immediately, because all the tests they have done, all the tests on her, like you name, they have done this blood culture, all those regular CBCs and all those things. They have, because her hemoglobin level was continuously decreasing, and she was having desaturations quite some time, for a few times continuously. So they have done a peripheral smear to check if the blood cells, the structures and everything is fine or not. They have done transcranial ultrasound, the whole abdomen ultrasound, chest x-ray, MRI, all those things. LFT, like all the tests were done, and everything was coming back normal. So yeah, all these things happened. But apart from the floppiness, the few things that were really like concerning, where she wasn't crying. She didn't cry at birth. She cried. It was a very weak cry. The doctors told me that when they were pricking her for getting blood samples or anything, she didn't even like react. She didn't cry. She was too lethargic. She was always sleeping. She couldn't take direct breastfeed. So I had to express the breast milk, and first they were feeding her through palada. Then they started this OG tube, and they used to shift between OG tube and then all these things, and like this all these days went. She was born on 15th of October until 4th of November. She was in NICU, and then she got discharged because her oxygen, after the blood transfusion, her oxygen level started to maintain at around 94, 93, like that. Even though then it was low, but she was not having any breathing trouble. So we brought her home, and at that time she was feeding through palada. We started feeding her, but I remember every day, morning and night, going to the hospital, and because what happened is she couldn't regulate her temperature. Like she was born in October, so it was quite cold at that time in Bangalore, and in NICU she was under a heater. But when we brought her home, suddenly her hands and feet started turning blue, and we rushed to the hospital to see what happened. Then then they told it is because of the cold. We started putting her keeping her in room heater. Then she started, her temperature, body temperature suddenly went up. Again we went to the hospital. What happened? So all these things, she had a difficult time regulating the body temperature. Then another thing was, whenever I was feeding her through palada, she used to get tired too soon, and her chest used to get retracted, and she used to put a lot of effort in breathing, like how we breathe when we are like breathless, like that she used to breathe. And once or twice I remember I got so scared that I cried to my husband, please take her to the hospital, because I was so afraid if something happens to her in my hand, what will I do? I'll probably not be able to live further. So all these things were going on, and on 7th November, so my these things were going on. We didn't know what to do, and we didn't really wanted to go back to the hospital where she was born. So my sister-in-law found a pediatrician and neonatologist in Bangalore who had an experience of around 40 years. So it's Dr. Arvind Shinoy in Rainbow, and we went there. And then he looked at the baby. He told somehow that the baby is malnourished. Of course, because we were unable to feed her properly, the palada, and every time she had this breathing trouble, we stopped. So all these things were happening. So he first decided that we should put the OG tube. First we have to maintain her nutrition properly. Then he told us we have to meet a neurologist, pediatric neurologist, and then we have to meet a physiotherapist. Accordingly we met the neurologist, and then the first thing he told that he checked my daughter, and he mentioned certain things like what were there, like okay, during her birth they have checked her eyes. So she had a hypopigmented her eyes were hypopigmented, meaning that these were not as orange or reddish as it is supposed to be in a child. That thing. Then floppy infant syndrome, like her hands and legs were too floppy, like she couldn't hold it up. If you just lift her leg or hand, it used to just fall down. Even though strength was there, her legs, she used to kick and all those things, she used to move those things, but she couldn't. That's what the muscle tone means. So neurologist checked her, and then he told we are suspecting something genetic. The good thing that he told us about that first thing, because her leg has some strength, probably it is not SMA has a very bad prognosis. I don't want to talk about that, but they thought it could be congenital myopathy and all those things. And at that time we got really scared. Then we met the geneticist also at the same hospital, and the geneticist, the very first time she saw our daughter, and she told her hands and feet were smaller in size, and all those things. She took our history and her discharge summary, everything she took into consideration, and then she told it can be Prader-Willi syndrome. She told us to do one test called MSMLP. It was taking almost 3 weeks to get the result, and we really were going insane. We didn't have the that much time to wait, because it's really hard. It's something like we were always having the feeling to, I can't express, like we are choked, and seeing our daughter like that, it was really difficult for us. Then the neurologist suggested ki if you are okay with the cost. By that time we were financially drained because of those NICU charges and everything, and then the neurologist suggested us to go for a whole genome sequencing from a lab called Karkinos in Mumbai. And we thought ki okay, for our sanity we'll do that, because the results we were supposed to get within a week. And yeah, so we sent the blood sample for both MSMLP and the whole genome sequencing, and we got the result. One fine morning, I just woke up from sleep, and we got a call. The neurologist wanted to meet us. He had something to discuss, and we got the result through mail, and there it was. It was written, a lot of possibilities were written. Along with PWS, there was Angelman syndrome, like whatever was associated with the particular chromosomal region, the 15th chromosome. There is around 3 MB region on that chromosome which is missing in our daughter, which is deleted due to some mutation. And along with the clinical symptoms, whatever she was having, and the doctor told, yeah, we suspected PWS, and the MSMLP result was still pending. And then we got the result after 3 weeks, and it also confirmed with the methylation pattern, because yeah, I'll tell about the genetics later in some other day, other videos. So we yeah, and like that she was diagnosed, and yeah, the whole thing started. Yeah, so this much for today. Thank you. I'll have to post it in parts again, and I hope, yeah, thank you.